how long have you owned the building?
I've owned the building for 9 years now.
What's the story behind it? Because I think you shared a little bit before. Like it was it foreclosure? Was it?
No, it wasn't a foreclosure. So one of the original owners, the Carslows, they teamed up with Mark Martin, I believe. I know Mark Martin was part owner at some point. I think it was with the Carslows. I know the Carslows was the original owners. They had it as a car museum. So most of the cars were Corvettes. So it was like a Corvette museum / super. I mean, it had a Batman car in here, but I think that once you see the cars once, the business didn't seem, I never really understood how a museum with cars that didn't change could generate money. And plus, it was only like $10 to walk around.
Yeah.
You got a 55 square foot building, someone's got to pay the bills at some point. But so it was that. And then they sold it to the Epling family, who was, they owned tractors, cats, and stuff like that. And his son turned it into 2 different motorcycle dealerships. Both of those failed. And then they started trying to lease it out, and they leased it out to a gentleman from New York, his attorney, and he tried to do like a Dave and Buster's type thing. It's called Lucky's. That was a colossal failure. And so nothing was working here. So it seemed like the building of doom for most people in town for a business sense. And then, so it sat empty. Me and my partner at the time that I had worked on a price trying to get it, and it was coming down, it was coming down, it was coming down. And then we ended up what it's worth now, we stole it and turned it into this. And this is really, it needed something unique to survive. The entrance is a little, as you know, kind of a little funky to get in here. It's right here on International Speedway. So, we fought and tried to get an entrance here. They're not allowing it though.
Yeah.
So.
When did the vision of kind of what it is now and the things you want to add, did you have that in your mind, like from the very beginning?
The stuff that I want to add, no, what's here now was the vision from day one. The restaurant and the gun store together was the vision from day one, but all the plans that we've talked about upstairs is definitely something that's come along with 30,000 square feet of empty space, knowing that it's got to make me money to make this place keep going to where I want it to be.
So you knew that, man, this building, like, it's a diamond in the rough. It's massive. It's good location. A little funky to get into, like you said, but you can kind of see it from like the major, highways and byways in Daytona. But did you just have this feeling like, man, if I get this thing, I'm going to figure out how to maximize its value. I'm going to make money on it. I
really, really did. I believed in the location of it. I mean, I'm sitting on the world's most famous beach, Main Street, and walking distance to Daytona International Speedway. The traffic that's in this area is still growing. There's so many people here, and we felt like it just needed the right business. We looked at the businesses that were in here that failed, and I never saw an avenue for them to be really successful. I think it had a bunch of people that had a lot of money that really didn't have, unfortunately, that much business sense. Not to be disrespectful, but it's just, I never saw an avenue for those to succeed in here financially for the amount of money that a building like this and the properties, it's sitting on 8 acres, in this location is just, it's kind of hard to say that it wouldn't work, I felt.
Yeah. No, I love it because I personally would love to own a building of this size, because I would be like you, like, what can I put in it? Like this right now, it's a gun range, it's a gun shop, it's the restaurant.
Yep.
You have the Tiki Hut, upstairs you're planning, still doing the Cigar Bar, is that still part of?
It's going to be a membership only club. We are going to, not technically Cigar Bar, because they kind of nixed that at the city because you're not allowed to serve food with the smoking. So we're going to bust out a balcony outside for smoking so that I can still have the food and the membership only deal. Then I'm doing a massive golf cart business up there. You know, going to do ride shares to and from the track during all these events. Doing a gun safe showroom because that's one of the more profitable things in my industry. Also an ammo area up there. And then I'm still going to have room for 14 offices that I'm going to rent out that are about 400 square feet each. So there's going to be 400 to 500 square feet, 14 office spaces for lease up there.
Where did your entrepreneurial journey start?
Man, I drew the restaurant in college. I got a math degree, my minor's in business, and one of the assignments was to create a business. And I created that business. I always wanted to be a pilot. There's a reason I'm here in Daytona. I came down and went through a graduate program at Embry-Riddle to fly airplanes, and I drew a restaurant in college that almost identical to what I built here, except for the decor was airplane wings and propellers and props and stuff like that was the decor of the restaurant. So it really just turned into whiskey barrels and guns and stuff like that. So I think it started there because I basically followed that. And you know, as far as the gun store, I just saw a big opportunity with the one gun store in town guy. He picked up and left a really small location and went like 25 minutes north. And I felt like he left the majority of people. You know, I wasn't a huge gun guy. I mean, I've hunted since I was a kid. You know, I'm from Virginia, so. But I wouldn't say I'm a gun nut by any means. I'm learning along the way, for sure. I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable now, but definitely not a gun nut. But I just saw an opportunity that someone left, and I jumped on it, and it's turned out to be the right call, for sure.
Awesome, man. I just amazed with the kind of the vision. I love the story, how you had that in college, and you know, it became fruition. Because a lot of people have visions or dreams and goals, but then they never act on it.
Yeah.
Like, and I was always like, I just always feel like I'm just someone who, I have all these goals and I just come up with ideas all the time, but I take action more than others. Not that I take like a tremendous amount, but just a little bit of action separates you from the majority of people out there. And you seem like the same type of person. I
definitely say I'm fitting right in that same category as you. I like to take chances, man. I don't feel like you can get anywhere without doing it, so.
I'm Scott DeVore with DeVore Capital. We are a multi-service construction, real estate, and development company. We do services from ground-up development to roofing services to real estate transactions. Reach out to us at 844-4DEVORE or at the website link below. Oh my goodness. I'm not very good at pulling. What's the biggest obstacle to kind of getting this up and running from when you acquired it 9 years ago? I'm sure there's a lot of red tape. You know, you got guns being shot over here. You got adult beverages being sold over here.
There's actually a lot of data online about that. I did 3 or 4 interviews with CNN. Then when I went to the city, you know, the newspaper around here, they had this guy on a horse. He was reared back on the horse. He had a Jack Daniels bottle in one hand and a gun in the other. And the headline was something along the sorts of, this idiot in town wants to open up a gun store with a bar. And they twisted it every way they could. It made it sound like we were going to be selling bottles of Jack on the gun range when I constantly told them over and over again. But you know, when I went to the city for the preliminary hearing on the business, it actually got shot down. And at that point was when I was like, okay, I got to really bring my A game when I come back, because, you know, I felt it was a no-brainer in my thinking of why it would work and why it would be better than any other gun range and safer. And being a math major, that helped. I brought a lot of statistics, a lot of numbers to the table. And normally at those hearings, business guys like myself, they bring attorneys to speak for them.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of that. I never spoke with one single attorney. I did the work myself. I went there and I explained the business. I explained how I was going to keep it safe with the eye detect, all the safety features I have. You know, my staff trained in inebriation recognition upon one after the other, after the other, after the other. I mean, the group of us could go right now to Outback and have 5 beers and come here and shoot. They wouldn't know, except for, you know, I have my staff now trained to recognize that, to try to smell it. And at my restaurant, we couldn't do that. So I'm trying to catch them to eat and then go. So I felt like I brought a lot to the table. And after it was over, the mayor came to me. He pulled me aside and he was like, man, normally we were only dealing with attorneys and stuff like that. He said, we came here today to vote this down. He said, you stood up there in front of us and changed every single person's mind. He said, I've never seen anybody do that in all the years we've been doing it. And so that made me feel really good, man, when he pulled me aside and told me that afterwards. So I felt pretty good about it, for sure.
No, that's amazing. Like, what's inspiring me right now is you had already put up the money, I'm assuming, before the hearings.
Correct.
Right? So you got the money, you already acquired the building.
Yep.
Millions of dollars for the building. You go to the hearing, first time is rejected.
Yep.
Did you ever doubt that, man, maybe I made the wrong decision. Maybe I shouldn't have bought this building and had this crazy idea of a gun range and a gun store and restaurant. Did you ever doubt yourself?
Man, that's funny you say that, because I didn't have doubts. I really didn't.
And I believe that.
I don't ever remember thinking back and oh, this might not work. I felt when I went back and put my head down to bring what I knew I was bringing to the table, that I didn't understand an avenue that could turn me down. Like, I felt extremely confident that, you know, and then hearing upon what he told me that they came to turn me down, you know, that was pretty big. You know, they would, at least they were open to listening to me, you know. And I think if I had hired an attorney and went that route, I don't think I would have had the place.
Yeah.
You know, they saw the emotion that I had and the drive that I brought to the table that day.
Yeah, and the passion behind it.
And the passion behind it, for sure. And I changed their minds. And, you know, I'm 9 years into it, and, you know, at some point statistically there's something that'll probably happen in the range. You know, statistically there'll be an injury or something, but man, statistically right now I'm one of the safest ranges in the country, not just Florida. You know, these people are, you know, unfortunately they rent the firearms and they go harm themselves or someone else, and it's unfortunately more common than what we probably hear about.
Yeah.
And I've never had an incident. The guys that are trained out there, I do feel like for sure I've stopped probably 5 or 6 without a doubt in my mind, with this training that my guys have of something happening. You know, the other range in town, it's a small place, but I mean, they've had probably in the 9 years I've been open, I bet they've had 4 or 5 deaths in there.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm proud of what we've done here.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So after you got the good news, man, you blew everyone away. The mayor pulled you aside. You know, you get everything up and rolling. I'm sure, you know, after doing the build out, getting the restaurant, getting everything just up and running, there had to have been hard times. Especially, you know, we had COVID years like 5 years ago. What was the challenges that came later after you guys got established and started to develop a good reputation in town?
You know, the hardest part was being able to compete, you know, and get enough butts in the door to be able to compete. The industry is a very, very low margin industry. So it works on numbers, you know, and getting the people in here was key. And having a monster in town, my competition, you know, there was challenges with that, and it took time and making sure that knowing that the customer had options, and basically we're going to be selling the same exact product at the same price. I had to go above and beyond by the way I'm treating you. And I think if we walked out there and asked any of my staff right now, you know, if we're out, we're doing stuff, it's just the way I am. I don't you know, I'll say, hey, this is Ashley or whoever, whatever name it is, and I'll say, I'll work with them. I never let them say they work for me.
Yeah.
I don't like that. You know, I work with you. I'll do the same thing you do. We work together. And when they say he's my boss, I'm like, I'm not your boss. I'm your friend. And everyone has told me that you'll never succeed like that. You'll never succeed. I was like, well, I'm going to succeed because that's the human that I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to treat you like I would want to be treated, you know. And I've never, ever walked in there and said, look, this is my place and this is the way we're doing it. I'll say, hey, what you're standing out here. You're with the customers more than I am. What do you think? And I'm not just asking them. I want to know. And 99% of the time, I'm going to probably implement some shape or form of what they say. And I really feel that's been a lot of the reasons I've been successful. And you know, it's the way you talk to people, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if I'm selling the same thing you are, and you know, I gotta figure out why I'm going to make someone drive past you to me, and the only way I can do that is by treating them right.
Yeah. Man, I'm like you in that regard as well. I always speak as it's a team, we're doing it together. Not like, hey, I'm the guy at the top and everyone is my underlings. And I bet you got people who's been with you for a while now who are just kind of bought into like that culture, that team, that kind of that almost that family atmosphere that you created. That you know, they didn't get treated that way somewhere else. Like they're hearing this like, oh man, you're treating me like an equal.
It's for sure, man. It's a fact though. Like, and they like that, and they do stay. I mean, I have 29 employees on my gun side. I think I have 15 or 16 over here. And of the 29 on the gun store, man, I bet you more than 50% started with me. They're still here. And the reason that number's not higher is because I do employ a lot of the students from Embry-Riddle and the other colleges around. So it's like a revolving door of them as they come, but they're some of the best employees you can get. You know, I've retired police officers and firefighters back on the range. You know, I mean, you can't beat these guys that are coming in, and you treat them right. You talk to them like and you respect them, and they stay, which is the way I feel it should be.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not going to change. You know, if it wasn't working, I'd change, but.
I'm Scott DeVore with DeVore Capital Contracting, multi-service licensed construction company. We are a certified roofing and general contractor. We do everything from residential to commercial roofing and all other construction services. If you are a homeowner or a commercial building owner and you have any roofing needs from repairs to replacements to tarping, please reach out to us at 844-4DeVore or at the link below.
Golly.
Let's talk about the building.
All right.
So, when was it originally built?
42 years ago.
42 years. And the reason why we're here is, leaks, the roof was older, just a lot of things like happened.
A lot.
And we met you earlier this year. We try to help you with, going through insurance, but you know how insurance companies are. It's like tough, especially on a commercial building, flat roof and all that. And then it went out to like general bid to roofers.
Yep.
And, Nate's here, he's runs all of our commercial roofing. And I feel like he's done a really good job, through the process. Obviously we wanted this to be a claimable thing that the insurance company would pay for. Unfortunately, it didn't go that route. But, he kept the relationship. This thing went out to bid. And what were some of the things that you saw from the company that, man, I like how these guys do business. They seem honest in their word. They're not just trying to take advantage of me. And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. But
no. I'm glad you brought that point up because, in all honesty, I did get a lot of bids. When I realized I had to pay for it out of my own pocket, the number's big. And a big factor was going to be price, but not the whole thing was going to be pricing. I knew I needed a good product, but I can't stress enough that Nate honestly, I think is the reason that I went ultimately with your company, because what we just spoke about, the relationships with my staff, with people, the way people talk to me and the way I'm treated. I felt more comfortable with Nate, and not because he's standing here. He did keep a close relationship with me. When I answered him, he answered me right back. And, he didn't get the sale right away. We went 9 months, maybe longer.
9 months, January.
Went 9 months before he knew he was getting the job. But if I asked him, the question was there. Nate, I got this proposal. Why are they $30,000 less than you? Why are they, what's going on? I'm most comfortable with you. Please tell me. I'm not doing this to other companies. And I was honest. I was like, I'm not doing this with other companies. I'm showing you this because I'm most comfortable with you, but I want you to tell me why this company is cheaper, or, and every time it was, well, they're using 1.5 inches less ISOs. I can do that and get you to that number. It was multiple things where it was always, he made me feel comfortable, and we went back. You, yourself, your team came down. Everyone was so nice. It seemed like, you spent the time, and you looked me in my face, you shook my hand, you walked around, and I felt comfortable. You made me feel comfortable. Everyone in your staff made me feel comfortable. And honestly, that was why I chose you guys. And that's just being truthful. That's not because the camera's on or because Nate's standing here. That's ultimately the true reason why I did that.
Man, that's we really appreciate that, and that's really like business. It's, hey, knowledgeable, answered, they were available. Like,
Yep.
Nate showing up, question,
Yep.
he didn't put you off or whatever. Like, I don't think we're gonna get this. He's asking me questions about other people's bids, because we genuinely care about the customer.
Yeah.
We wanted to get this roof. We wanted to win it, and you put all this time and effort costing it, talking to the suppliers, talking to our crews, and everything that needs to happen, talking to Volusia County about the permitting and the inspections, what they need, and then the warranty that comes with it. And you see so many other companies out there, all they do is they're churning out bids, but then they're missing the relationship portion. Of
course.
And maybe you don't get that job, but man, they're going to be thinking about how you were treated.
Yep.
So yeah, kudos to Nate for doing that. He's a huge part of what we're doing with the company.
He was fantastic, man. And I think I called him, and I believe you guys probably came back 3 times, regurgitated. Maybe was it 5?
Total.
And came back because time had went by, and I'm like, okay, I need you to tell me again. What am I getting? Why am I needing this? And trying to understand it, and then letting the time and space. We were waiting on the insurance. I was trying to get financing for the roof. Things were all going on, and then with the time that passed, I'd be like, and I'd reach back out, bang, you guys were here. Bang, you guys were here. The other companies, they weren't as responsive, 1, and 2, when they came, they gave me a piece of paper. Here's this is what I can do. Here's, and the numbers are on it. I don't know any of this crap. I'm not a roofer. Explain it to me.
Play with.
Yeah, no, you guys did. You guys brought, this is what the roof looks like. This is what goes on. This is how this works. This is why you want this. You can't do, it was great. Honestly, whatever you're doing it right, man, because honestly, it wasn't close. It wasn't, let me tell you that. It was close only because dollar was a big part, obviously. So that's what, if money was no option for me, then it wouldn't have been close. It would have been a blowout out the door. This is the job for you guys here. See you later. Thanks for making me be able to sleep at night. Since I've owned the building, honestly, every time we get a hurricane season, I'm uneasy.
Yep.
I'm having to stay here. I'm squeegeeing water out the building. I'm losing product. I'm at risk of losing everything I own in this place.
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to build from. And you guys have put a great product up there that I'm super confident in. And even those workers, the guys that actually did the work, they came in, they supported me. They ate lunch here every day. I think I bought them lunch once or twice, but they still came. They supported me right back. They're super nice. When I had a question, they answered. If I asked them for something a little bit different, it was there. They cleaned up behind themselves, which is, half the time I have people come here, they don't clean up behind themselves. Everything from top to bottom, even now, you're coming back, you're checking with me, and it's just, there's no doubt in my mind that why you're super successful and will be even greater because of the way you're running your business is, it's, in my opinion, it couldn't be done any better.
Appreciate that. Ron, what was it like just during the construction? Were you able to stay open? Did we interrupt, your businesses that you got?
Yeah, no, we were open the whole time, 0 interruptions of any kind. Actually, it was kind of nice having them around. I mean, it really was. Everything was perfect. I have no recommendations to change anything. It was better than what I even expected. So,
man, we really appreciate the opportunity.
Sure.
It's been great just getting to know you, being from the Mid-Atlantic like myself, and just kind of being here in Florida in this great state. Multi-entrepreneurial, visionary. I love everything you're doing, and
Thank you.
I see just what there's plans for upstairs and what that's going to turn into, and want to just wish you a lot of success. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Same to you.
2025. Thank you.
Yep.
From behalf of DeVore Capital, myself, Nate, and the whole team, we really appreciate the opportunity to do this project with you.
Absolutely, man, for sure. Thank you. Appreciate you so much.
Yeah, man.